In this episode, I'm actually going to put my degree to use and review a film. Actually make it 2 films. Why not? So recently I went to the cinema and saw 2 films over the space of 2 days. The first one, The Avengers, or in the UK, Avengers Assemble, and the second one was Cabin in the Woods. Now both these films have one thing in common, and that is the legend himself, Joss Whedon. So I'm going to review these 2 films because I found them particularly interesting in their own right, and I'm going to start with Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is a horror film, but it's a very unique horror film. I'd say if you're going to watch it, you have to go in with a completely open mind, preferably if you haven't seen any promotional material already. I know that sounds strange, but it kind of helps. When I went to see the film, I went with my housemate, and we both agree that it was a strange film, but strange in a good way kind of film. It's pretty good. The thing is with horror films, because they are so common, is that it's easy for them to fall into certain cliches. Joss Whedon wrote the script saying that he didn't want to do what horror film has become, which in his opinion is torture porn. So he wanted to do something different from like Piranha 3D or Saw. He wanted to go back to the old style of horror films. And it's clear to see, and it's also clear to see why he chose the name, and you'll see it when you watch the film. It was written by Joss Whedon, so it's very Whedon-esque. Expect the unexpected. If you're a fan of Joss Whedon, then you already know what that means. I don't think it deserves most of the criticism it gets. As in, a lot of people I know don't like it, some people outright hate it, but at the same time, it's not meant to be your standard kind of film. It's just something different, and I would give it probably 7 out of 10, which is pretty good, because I don't really rate horror films that well. I just find them, as I said, cliched most of the time, so yeah. If you don't manage to watch it in the cinema, like, definitely buy it. Don't download. Don't ruin the industry I want to be a part of. Yeah, it's something different. You might like it, you might not. It's, yeah, different. And now The Avengers. The Avengers is a fantastically good film. Like, people who have said that they don't like comic book movies have said that they want to watch this film and enjoy it because it's so well written, it's so well performed, it's so well directed. It's just an exceptional film all round. Joss Whedon done a fantastic role of directing, especially all things considered when making The Avengers. You have 3 actors who have been the lead roles in their own individual films. You have 1 actor who's had to come in to replace someone else, 2 other actors who have been like the supporting roles in 2 of the other films, now coming into as more main roles. You have Samuel L. Jackson, who has been in 4 of the first films and is now having a more prominent role. And every single character gets their, not so much their like 15 minutes, because some characters get more screen time than others, justly. Everyone gets the right amount of time. Everyone gets their chance to make their presence known, and everyone does it well. Now that said, there are a few things that not so much I don't like, just don't get answered. For example, at the end of Thor, this happens. And yet, obviously, he's in the Avengers. And so clearly there's a part in the film where they have to address that. But it's blown over incredibly quickly. And it then brings up a lot of questions about the film as a whole, or like certain parts of the film, which I won't spoil for you if you haven't seen it, in which case, why not? It's a small thing that just like got into the back of my head, and I was thinking, what, how, why? It was just something nagging. Another thing that I felt for me doesn't really work is Kobe Smolder's character. Now, it's all good adding superheroes to come for this big superhero film, But she's not a superhero. In fact, she's just a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know. I love her as Robin. How I Met Your Mother is one of my favourite shows. But this is obviously is her chance to shine as Kobe Smulders and not Robin Scherbatsky. But she just doesn't do anything until later in the film, as in her purpose is explained later in the film. But it's no, no, she shouldn't have been in this film. But with the exception of those two things, this film is incredible. It is spectacularly well written, spectacularly well timed. The action doesn't drag for a second. Everything seems fresh. Everything seems on it. It's so funny as well. Like, there were moments where I was actually howling out laughing in the cinema. It's definitely one of the best films of the year. Maybe the decade. I don't know how this decade's going to pan out. Wouldn't say it's the best superhero film ever, which in my opinion is The Dark Knight, and will soon be toppled by The Dark Knight Rises. But yeah, an exceptional film. Would recommend it for everyone. Definitely buy it on Blu-ray or DVD. Solid 9.5 out of 10. With the exception of those two things that just made it sure that it wouldn't get that 10. But obviously if they do Avengers 2, they can work on that. And yeah, that'll be grand. Yeah, but those are the two films I reviewed, and all I can put in conclusion is Joss Whedon is amazing, if you did not know that already.